Along with a number of our colleagues, we have arrived at the resilient Kharg Island. God willing, life is continuing and oil exports are proceeding without any problems, and we have not seen any specific issues here. Security is completely established on the island. The valiant employees of the oil industry are also busy carrying out their activities on this island. What I can confidently tell you is that our armed forces are committed and sworn that if any aggressor violates this Iranian island, they will certainly face the harshest response and will not return alive.
Donald Trump soldiers are now being portrayed by Iran as dead on arrival, after the IRGC issued a major escalation announcement. The IRGC claimed that scores of US soldiers were slain and tactical vessels were targeted in the Persian Gulf. Iran is presenting this as a deadly shocker for Donald Trump, saying the attack formed part of Wave 84 of Operation True Promise 4. Iran is also claiming a major war victory with what appears to be a deadly teaser ahead of any possible US ground operations around Kharg Island. The IRGC has claimed that it targeted 6 US tactical vessels in the Persian Gulf in what it described as another major retaliatory operation in the widening conflict. According to Press TV, citing an IRGC statement on March 28th, a large number of American forces were said to have been killed in the attack. The same statement said that 6 US landing craft utility, or LCU vessels, were struck during the operation, according to the report carried by Press TV. Public Relations Department of the IRGC said, and I quote, "In continuation of the 84th wave of Operation True Promise 4, the IRGC naval units conducted a hybrid operation against US and Israeli terrorists deployed in Al-Shoyuk port as well as Dubai's coasts and port, hitting downhearted American troops and their tactical hardware precisely. Given field reports, 3 of the combat vessels sank after the retaliatory strikes, whilst the rest are aflame. During the operation, a large number of American terrorists were killed, and tactical vessels sunk." Unquote. Press TV also reported that kamikaze drones were used in attacks against US drone unit personnel as part of the broader operation claimed by the IRGC. The spokesperson for the Iranian parliament also made a major claim about Kharg Island on March 28th, portraying the strategic island as stable despite growing concerns over possible US action. Ibrahim Rizoi said that life has returned to normal in Kharg, according to reporting linked to Fars news agency and other Iranian media coverage. Rizoi added that Kharg Island is in complete security and said Iran's armed forces remain fully ready for any possible escalation around the island. He also warned that any aggression against Kharg Island would be met with a decisive and irreversible response, underscoring Tehran's attempt to deter any direct assault. Rizoi's remarks came amid reports of a possible US ground operation involving Kharg Island as Washington weighs options in the conflict. Notably, the United States is deploying troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East as part of broader contingency planning for the region. That deployment has raised fears of a possible ground operation, especially as military preparations continue alongside a pause in some energy-related strike options. Reports say Iranian forces have already started laying mines and moved additional troops and defensive assets to the island in anticipation of a possible assault. Iran has reportedly been laying traps that include anti-personnel and anti-armor mines, making any attempted landing operation significantly more dangerous. Kharg Island is crucial because it reportedly handles roughly 90% of Iran's crude exports, making it a vital node in the country's economic survival. Reports have said the Trump administration has considered the island seizure as leverage tied to reopening or securing the Strait of Hormuz. On March 27th, attention remained fixed on the Strait of Hormuz after Iranian-linked claims about control and continued US signaling kept the waterway at the center of the war's strategic calculations.
And then there was a big moment also in my first administration when I took out Soleimani. And a lot of people think that might have been the biggest thing of all because he was a mad genius. He was a vicious, horrible human being, but he was a great general and a great leader, if you define a leader in a certain way, very, very powerful leader. In fact, he was so powerful that I really think that the leadership of Iran was extremely happy when I took him out, but they don't say that, but nobody's going to be asking him anymore because they're not here either. But getting the termination and terminating the Iran nuclear deal that was done by Biden and Obama, I would say mostly Obama. Actually, I don't think Biden knew where he was then, too. He had no idea. If you said to him, the Iran nuclear, what's that? But there was 4 years of hell we had with this guy as our leader, I'll tell you. And then we hit them with the B-2 bomber, so we did it twice. But if they would have had a nuclear weapon, it would have been a whole big deal. And I wouldn't be here right now, and probably you guys wouldn't be too happy. You might be in an area, who knows where you would have been. But we did it twice. And I really believe we saved the Middle East. We saved not just Israel, we saved the Middle East. And it was proven by all those rockets that fired down upon you. Saudi Arabia got hit a lot. You all got hit, and nobody expected any missiles to be wasted. You would have thought they were only going at Israel. They weren't. As President of the United States, I would never allow the world's #1 state sponsor of terror to obtain a nuclear weapon. I said that for a long time. And I didn't. To defend America and our allies over the past 27 days, the U.S. Armed Forces, most powerful in the world, have been annihilating Iran's military capacity with force, precision, skill like the world has never seen. It was violence, actually, really violence. We're crushing Iran's currently as we speak. I just looked. We had another big day. We hit them. They don't know what's happening. Remember this. They lied about 3 days ago. I said, yeah, we're negotiating with Israel. We are not negotiating. They're being hit so hard, anybody would be negotiating. They are negotiating. They're begging to make a deal. They're begging to make a deal. Turned out I was right. They were negotiating, which they admitted 2 days later. And in order to make up for their misstatement, they said, we're going to send you 8 ships of oil. And the following day I saw, this is 2 days ago, I saw on one of the networks, very strange, there were 8 ships of oil coming out of Iran. And then they actually said, we're going to add an extra 2. And they added an extra 2, so we had 10 ships. And then people realized we were actually negotiating. And we're negotiating now, and it'd be great if we could do something, but they have to open it up. They have to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Excuse me for this. I'm so sorry. Such a terrible mistake. The fake news will say, he accidentally said, no. There's no accidents with me, not too many. If there were, we'd have a major story. No, well, we had that with the Gulf of Mexico. Remember the Gulf of Mexico? And one day I said, why is it the Gulf of Mexico? We have 92% of the area around it. They have 8%, really less than 8%. But for 350 years, it was good. You know, they were there 100 years longer than us, Mexico. They're at 350, we're at 250. And I said, often asked myself, why do we call it the Gulf of Mexico? It seems like we dominate. Well, when I checked, it was more than 92%. So I announced, I wouldn't say Mexico was thrilled, but I announced that from now on, the Gulf of Mexico is going to be called the Gulf of America. And it took about 1 hour, and it was done. Everybody, the president called me. She's really a nice person, too. I like her a lot. She called up. She had the most beautiful voice. She's a very elegant woman, has a beautiful, beautiful voice. She goes, President, tell me, this is not so. No, it's so. Oh, it's so. And then Google Maps changed it. We won the court case in about 1 hour, and Google Maps changed the name. And it's now the Gulf of America, which it should be in all fairness. We're crushing Iran's weapons stockpiles, destroying their missiles and drone factories at levels nobody ever thought was possible, and turning their defense industrial base into nothing. Iran's navy is gone. It's all sunk at the bottom of the Gulf and elsewhere. Did you see the attack submarine that we have went after one of their boats? It was called the Soleimani. It was the pride of their fleet. But this attack submarine goes like 60 miles an hour. I'd never saw anything. And it caught them in about 2 minutes. And that was the end of the Soleimani. Now, then they're 100% dead. They have 22 mine droppers. They go on mine droppers. And the mine droppers, all 22 are gone. So I guess they can drop mines, but they're going to have to take them out by a rowboat because they don't have any boats. Their Air Force is dead, totally, completely dead. It's out of business. No planes left at all. Their anti-aircraft and communications capabilities are totally dismantled and dead. And their leaders are all dead. Other than that, I think they're doing quite well. No, their leaders are dead. Their supreme leader is no longer supreme. He's dead. The son is either dead or in very bad shape because nobody's heard from him. I think he says, just keep me out of this. This is the only country where nobody wants to lead. There's nobody. Who would like to lead Iran? Please raise your hand, a big audience of distinguished. Who would like to be our leader? Dead silent. Nobody wants to lead.
In continuation of the heroic actions of the country's armed forces, we carried out a sustained and joint missile and drone operation by the naval and aerospace forces of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in the 83rd wave of Operation True Promise 4, targeting the positions of the American Zionist enemies. Our devoted fighters in the IRGC Navy and Aerospace Forces, while maintaining smart and powerful control over the Strait of Hormuz and holding the initiative in the Persian Gulf, will continue attacks on enemy positions in the region with strength, by the grace of God.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was pressed by reporters over possible ground operation plans, but he said Washington could achieve its objectives without using ground troops.
All right, we have really good meetings. Obviously, it's an opportunity to talk to our allies at the G7 and outline the perspective of what we have going on with Iran. We talked about a lot of things is the Iran operation. And we're very clear, as you said from the very beginning, the objectives of this mission have been clear from the very first night the president announced it. We're going to destroy Iran's Navy, we're destroy their Air Force, we're going to basically destroy their ability to make missiles and drones in their factories. And we're going to substantially, dramatically reduce the number of missile launches so that they cannot hide behind these things to build an initial weapon threat war. As the Department of War has consistently outlined, we are on or ahead of schedule in that operation. Expect to conclude at the appropriate time here in a matter of weeks, not months. And the progress is going very well. Obviously, we have some work to do. We have to finish the job, and we are finishing our job. I did describe to our allies, however, that immediately after this thing ends, and was done with our objective. One of the immediate challenges we're going to face is an Iran that may decide that they want to set up a tolling system in the Strait of Hormuz. Not only is this illegal or unacceptable, it's dangerous to the world. And it's important that the world have a plan to confront it. The United States is prepared to be a part of that plan. You don't have to lead that plan, but we will have to be a part of it. But these countries have a lot at stake. Not just the G7 countries, the countries in Asia all over the world have a lot at stake and should consider breaking to that effort to ensure that either the Straits of Hormuz or frankly any international waterways should ever be something that's controlled or told by a nation state or by a terroristic government like the one that exists in Iraq today, where the radical terrorists will appreciate me. So there seem to be a lot of buy-ins to that concept. There's a lot of work happening right now. The UK has played a prominent role in bringing that together, but other countries as well, and a lot of acceptance and all that, and our allies and partners here, at least appreciate updates on our operation and an understanding of what lies ahead of the next 2 weeks. Okay?
Mr. Doctor, those couple of weeks, how seriously is the United States considering deploying ground troops? And in those couple of weeks, what exactly will
I won't discuss military tactics. I don't think anyone in our system here talks about if you have plans or what we intend to do with the focus. It's just for it. But to the extent it has to do with military tactics and plans, I would refer you to the Department of War. And the Department of War is probably going to tell you they can't tell you. So other than to say that we have objectives, I told you what those objectives are, and we are very confident that we are on the verge of achieving very, very soon. On the contrary, these meetings are oftentimes about thanking America for the role we played in trying to bring peace to Sudan. The recognition that the president played a key role in what was happening in Gaza. Recognition of the role we played in stabilizing Syria. Recognition, despite what they may have said in the past, that what they did in Venezuela was to get a wall of interest for our region in the Western Hemisphere. So, and has appreciation for the mediating role we've tried to play in the war between Russia and Ukraine. So I don't know. I mean, you guys asking these questions like if I go on bikini and people are angry. Nobody screams or raises their voice and says anything negative. And if they did, I would remind them, but I don't need to. I would remind them of the role America's played over the last years. Done a very productive role for help them. And I would just say this, and I said this yesterday. I'll say it again now. Iran is got not the Iranian people. The Iranian people are phenomenal people. They deserve way better than what they have, which is a radical Shia clerical regime that has basically taken that toxic wealth and used it not to build roads or bridges, not to build healthcare systems or universities, and not to build a better, more prosperous country. They've used the wealth of that country to sponsor terrorism, build rockets, build drones, build missiles, build sea mines. That's what they've done to it. They try to kill people all over the world. And this has to be dealt with. Just that country was a threat for 47 years. That regime has been trying to kill and has been killing Americans all over the world for 47 years. We have a president that's not going to allow that to continue. So when we are done, Iran was already weak. We are done with them here in the next couple of weeks. So that they've been the recent history, and they will not be able to hide behind those weapons to break out and get a nuclear weapon. Which would be crazy. For these people to ever get nuclear weapons would be crazy. Look what they're willing to do with the weapons they have now. They hit embassies, they target hotels, they try to kill civilians, they slash out all their neighbors. Imagine these radical lunatics had a nuclear weapon to threaten the world.
What role do they serve other than preparing the way for potential ground invasion? While you speak about the Holy, are you concerned that this could embroil the U.S. in the kind of prolonged toxic to make the president to offer his promise of war?
This is not going to be a prolonged conflict. The objectives I've outlined, again, I repeat them. You're right. I see it in reports like the U.S. is not clear on what objectives are. We've been executing possibly from the very first night of what the objectives of this mission are. We're going to destroy their factories and useless rockets and dogs. We're going to destroy their Navy. We're going to destroy their Air Force. And we are going to significantly destroy their missile launchers so they can never hide behind these things to get a nuclear weapon. We are achieving all those objectives. We are ahead of schedule on most of them. And we can achieve them without any ground troops, without any. Now, in terms of why there's deployments, number one, the president has to be prepared for multiple contingencies, which we're not going to discuss in the media. We can achieve all of our objectives without ground troops, but we are always going to be prepared to give the president maximum optionality and maximum opportunity to adjust to contingencies that they are.